Hello and welcome to the show. This week's FailRace versus the community is ACR Viper Race, and this is a one-make race, so all of the cars are absolutely identical. None of them have been tuned at all, so this is all about driver skill. As we run up towards the first corner, I had been very lucky. This is my favourite car on my favourite track, and the game had started me on pole. It's new. However, I was under increasingly large amounts of pressure as we go around the first few corners, pretty much side by side with the car who had started in second. Infineon NASCAR is an interesting circuit, this one. I really enjoy this track. I know other people don't enjoy this track quite so much. It is a fairly difficult place to overtake. The final corner is a pretty good overtaking spot. A lot of the corners here though are very fast, and that makes it very hard to overtake. This whole section through here is rather interesting. Shall we say, with these cars, you're not going to overtake through here. It's far too fast. These cars have a lot of downforce though, which means that they should be pretty damn good through this section. I love this corner here as well. That is a fantastic corner, as I got it a little bit wrong on this time around. I'm now having to go defensive as we go in towards the final corner. In the background you can see there's a little bit of fighting going on. However, this race very quickly spread out. It was quite surprising actually. I mean, normally I can look through the replay and find battles going on further back. Somebody else has got a black and orange Viper here, but there was really not very much going on. Now, there had been a bit of lag at the start. Not sure. I think there are a couple of cars that were lagging about a bit, so there were a few broken bits, as per normal with any of these, as someone outbrakes themselves a little bit into the final hairpin, and somebody else does as well. And a lot of people did seem to be struggling. A lot of people were saying they were struggling with these cars. Now, I guess this is kind of a lot of down to driving style. I love these cars. These are probably my favourite car to drive in the game. Like, if you asked me to design how a car would handle, this is pretty much what I would come up with. This is just the way I drive my cars. This is the way I try to set my cars up, which, yeah, not everybody seems to like. These cars, they are kind of understeery, and the reason why I like them is I hate having a car that's sliding about. When I'm trying to push a car, I don't want it to be sliding about. I want it to just grip the road. And if the kind of the flip side of that is it understeers, well, that's fine. I can deal with that. I'd rather have the car understeer a little bit to tell me that I'm being an idiot than it to go massively sideways. I think you lose more time when it's going massively sideways. So I really like how these cars drive. However, I know other people would disagree with me on this one. Anyway, as you can see, there were a few broken cars in this. As ever, whenever you try and get people connected to the blooming Forza servers, I say that a lot in these videos. Anyway, well, there wasn't much going on elsewhere. At the front, things were very close. I had made a mistake, I can't remember where, in one of the corners, and I'd now dropped back to second. However, I was trying to find my way back past. Now, I'm not sure how much practice people have had. I spent a lot of time playing GTA the day before this, so I haven't driven this track at all, and I was finding it much easier to follow somebody in front. You could basically follow their lines. You could see where they were braking, and so the minute I sort of fell behind him, I was now much faster. Also, of course, there is always the thing of when you're in front and you're defending, you're going to slow yourself down a little bit. So I am now trying to find a way past the leader, and this is where it does get quite tricky. This track is just trying to find a good overtaking spot. The first corner here, very fast, very nasty corner. This one can very easily catch you out. It's very easy to run in the back of somebody going through here. Everybody has different braking points. Everybody has slightly different lines. It's, following someone closely up there can be a little risky, shall we say. The next couple of corners, again, these are far too fast. If you get a good run over the top of the hill and you are close enough, then this next corner is one of your best bets for overtaking into here. I'm too far back this time round, as that is one of the bigger braking zones, as we all run a little bit wide on the exit. It's that someone in the background does as well. A lack of practice. Another good overtaking spot is here, as I have a bit of a lunge up the inside, although it is quite hard to overtake there, as a guy can just run around the outside, and then they are on the inside for the next corner. I'm moving about in the background, trying to distract him a little bit, make him look in his mirrors. But it is a tricky track to overtake on. It's always tricky to overtake when everybody is driving exactly identical cars. Again, all the way through here, you can go around the outside of people through some of these corners, but in identical cars, you're not going to have that kind of level of driver skill and level of grip to actually manage to do that. And now looking into the final corner, it's fairly easy to defend in this final corner because it's such a long corner. If you just hug the apex, they can't really do a cutback on you. It's such a long way to go around the outside. It's unlikely to happen. I don't think we saw any of it going on here. Again, as I said, with identical cars, it's very hard to do that kind of maneuver. You just don't have the extra grip, and you don't have the extra speed or any of that to manage to pull that off. And again, I'm now still trying to find a way past. This is some really very, very good racing here. At the front, there wasn't much else going on. I was looking through the replays, and there's just nothing really. The few overtakes that were happening elsewhere were just someone has a very broken car and someone goes past them in a straight line. Not particularly exciting. So yeah, I'm still buzzing around at the back of this car, trying to find a way past. I'm going to have a little look at the inside, but this time he can close the door. I wasn't quite far enough alongside to sort of have a lunge at this, getting into this very fast section. I really like these cars through here because I'm trying to get kind of all different lines. It's very difficult to actually see when you're this close under the back of another car, especially these things with a humongous wing. These are nice cars around this track. I was enjoying driving this car, so I'm still trying to find a way past. This time I dived to the inside, clipped the curb a little bit too much, and then managed to go a little bit wide, clatter the wall. I got away without any major damage. The leader then has a little bit of a tank slapper going into the final corner, so there's not a huge amount of change there. Yeah, I got away without too much damage on that one. Further back, there's an overtake coming up. This is one of the few overtakes I saw. There was actually a genuine pass for position as somebody outbrakes themselves again, and there's that's how he runs wide as well. Yeah, the final corner was proving really tricky for everybody. I think these cars rely an awful lot on downforce. They are hugely reliant on downforce, and as I said at the start, there was a few leggy cars off the start line as they move about a little bit. If they clip somebody, if you have aero damage, it does affect these cars quite a lot, especially if you have rear aero damage on these. It's terrible if you take rear aero damage, as the guy in the Silver Viper is trying to look around the outside. Not likely to do it there. He's going to get a better run over the hill though, and sure enough, the greeny bluey coloured, whatever the hell that colour is, runs a little bit wide, gets a bit too sideways. Yeah, if you have aero damage like that, it's very hard to put the power down. While these cars are normally very, very planted, in fact even a little bit understeery, when you take rear aero damage you are in an awful lot of trouble, because then it becomes very, very hard to drive. Back at the front, and this is a couple of lap later, and I have caught back up to the leader, and I'm still trying to find a way past. This time he's going defensive into this corner. You can go around the outside here. Again, I have done it, I have seen it done, but in equal cars it's not very likely. Coming towards the next corner. This time I'm going to have a lunge. I think this was on lap 6 out of 7. This time I managed to get the lunge. I managed to get my car far enough alongside him so he can't go around the outside. And now it's my turn to lead. And the minute you get in front, now I don't have somebody to follow. I don't have somebody to kind of reference, as I hadn't really practiced this track at this point. Now this is the scary bit now, as I have to be the leader, and of course I've got to defend. I'm going to slow myself down defending as well. He's having a little bit of look. He's a brave man who tries to dive up the inside and through there. It has been done, but it is kind of scary doing that. Now I'm having to be very defensive into the final corner. You've got to stay right on the racing line there so he can't manage to get cut back, which I just about get away with. He's trying to look again at the outside. Yeah, it's pretty damn fast through this first section. It is yeah, it's a tricky place to overtake, especially in equal car. A lot of tracks it is trickier to overtake than a lot of people think. I'm now trying to cover the inside. This is onto the final lap now, and I am being very defensive. I don't want to lose this first place, as this is probably my favourite track on Forza 4. Iberian, I quite enjoy driving Iberian. And New York from Forza 3 was fantastic. I don't know why that's not here. I hope it's in Forza 5. I don't know. I think that's a little bit too much to ask with Bathurst already confirmed and everything. And now I'm just trying to go defensive here. However, he managed to get to the inside of me, but can't quite outbrake. There's a little bit of contact there. I think that's the first contact we had in this entire race, which is not bad considering we were probably within 50 feet. The entire thing up until I went on the grass. We've come around through the final corners now. There is only one more place you are going to overtake through here, at least overtake feasibly, without there being a mistake. I get a pretty bad line through here, run a little bit wide. In fact, I actually compromise him as well, so I sort of get away with it a little bit. I dive to the inside, make sure he can't go up there. I've now got to stick to the apex, make sure I don't run wide so he can't cut back on me, and then it's just a sprint to the line. Since we're in equal cars, this is how it is going to finish. It was an incredibly fun race, that one. I highly enjoyed that. It was a very, very close finish as well. Further back, it wasn't quite as exciting, although there was a little bit of close racing going on in the final lap. This is for 3rd and 4th, I believe, as we come up towards the end of the race. This is up towards the final corner for these guys. The black and blue Viper dives to the inside to try and defend. The red and black Viper is all he's really over the curve. They're trying to get alongside him, and it's a drag towards the line. I'm not sure if the damage played a part in here, or if someone's driving manual and clutch and someone isn't, because it's unusual to have that sort of acceleration advantage out of that final corner. Possibly damage played a little bit of a role in that one. We move on to our second race, and this is at Maple Valley Full, a track that I tend to avoid in Versus the Community, as cars are quite common to roll here. These shouldn't roll. I tested a little bit. I wasn't expecting these cars to have any issues. There was chaos further back at the first corner. Somebody got tagged, and somebody tagged someone. Someone was going around. I threw my car on the grass to try and avoid any damage, and a few other people followed me. So it was a little bit chaos further back. At the front, though, it was pretty good start. Everybody got away cleanly. There wasn't any lag this time, which is always helpful off the start line when 16 cars are all flying in towards that first corner. Also helps the first corner here is pretty wide. You can fit probably three cars wide fairly comfortably through there. There's a little bit of bumping as they come into one of the bigger braking zones, one of the bigger overtaking places around this track as well. I also think a few cars' paint jobs haven't loaded, so I apologise to anybody. There's an awful lot of red and black Vipers in this one, so it's replays being replays. You know what it's like. Anyway. And this is another track that's not the easiest in the world to overtake around. There is a crash in front. I think that was the one lag-assisted crash that we saw in this one. I'm not sure. It was a little bit of an odd one. That one, that one there. As you can see in the background there, I think the white car was jumping around a little bit. May have assisted somebody into the wall. As you go over the curves here, this is the one big. There we go. There's the lag that I was talking about. Sorry. Yeah, the curves up there, they are the big roll hazard for this track, but it's not likely with these cars. I don't think it's even possible with these cars. The diffuser, splitter, whatever you want to call it on the front, is very, very low to the ground, and it catches on the floor long before you roll. Another good overtaking spot into the first corner. If you get a good run onto that sort of front straight, you can have a dive into the first corner. This time he's run a little bit wide. He's going to try to go all the way around the outside. It is possible to do that here as the track now curves the other way, and you can just about get it done, but not this time. You now have to swap towards the outside, try to have a look. Eventually, the guy up front just runs a little bit wide, and now we have a change of leader. Of course, it's always easiest to overtake somebody when they fall off the road. Further back, there was still some action. There was more action going on in this one. There was a lot. To be fair, there were more cars in this one. We were having problems getting people connected, people joining. There wasn't even that many signed up for this race. Everybody was off playing GTA. So yeah. The first race, I think there's only 13 or 14. Here we have the full 16. There were some broken cars. There was only a couple this time around. There wasn't as many as in the first race. I'm sorry, my voice is dying. There was a few broken cars. This guy with a rather smoky Viper was actually still circulating fairly well, considering the engine damage on his car. He wasn't doing too badly. The guy behind him clipped the curb a little bit too much. While you're unlikely to roll these cars here, it certainly can kind of throw you off. I was on a bit of a charge. I lost an awful lot of time in the first lap trying to stay out of accidents, basically. However, I made my way up to 4th, I think that is, as somebody in the background got very on 2 wheels. I didn't expect to see anybody getting that far on 2 wheels through that. I think I'm actually now up to 3rd. Yeah, that was quite a scary move, going around the outside of that very, very fast King. I think I might have got a better run on the straight, because as I said before, yeah, it's unlikely to pass somebody in a straight line in equal cars. But yeah, if the guy on the inside clips the curb or runs a little bit wide, I'm in an awful lot of trouble. Luckily he didn't. If that guy had gone on 2 wheels alongside me, yeah, I would have been in the wall and out of it. It's not a nice place to be around that corner, but it got the job done. I was pretty damn rapid here. I like this track, I like these cars. I was picking people off one by one. Again, I'm attacking the curbs here, trying to make up a little bit of time through. I was really fast through this last sector. I think I was one of the few anyway who was taking this final corner flat out. Of course, I can't hear, I've got somebody right in front of me, but I was making an awful lot of time up on the people in front of me by taking that final corner flat out, and it gives me a good run in towards this first corner. I'm going to have a look at this time. Can't quite get it done, but it's only going to be a matter of time before I can get past him. Further back, and again, the race did get fairly lonely. I mean, cars are fairly close on track, like you see these two. You can see, I think this is 4th, no, 5th, 6th, 7th maybe. You can all kind of see each other, but there wasn't a huge amount of kind of battles, overtaking, and that kind of thing going on. This is the reason why I don't do S-Class races and why I don't do faster cars, because you just don't get as close racing. I would much rather, well, I say I would much rather. I love driving these cars. These are great cars to drive. However, I'm probably not going to do S-Class cars again for quite a while, because you just get more close racing when you use slower cars. I mean, there's not such a huge disparity in driver skill. If you're using a C-Class car, it's not as fast. You don't have to be such a high skill level of driver to keep the thing on the road, keep the thing pointing the right way. And yeah, you just generate a lot more close racing, and that's why I prefer to run the slower cars. There was still racing going on here. People were still all battling for position. This is the broken Viper that was still going around. He was doing a good job. I'm never sure quite how broken cars are on replays. It's very hard to tell, because if you like to fast forward a replay and then you sort of rewind to the start of the race, all the cars would have the damage that was on them further in. It's a very weird thing the replays do when it comes to damage, so I'm never 100% sure quite how accurate the damage is on replays. But either way, this smoking Viper was doing a pretty damn good job of keeping ahead of some of the cars further back. I had been busy over the couple of laps and managed to catch up towards the leader, and I was now trying to find a way past. As I said before, Maple Valley's not the easiest of circuits to overtake. It's another one with a lot of very, very fast corners, and you've got to be careful with where you put your car. These curves can really screw you over if you are sort of a bit aggressive. I just about get away with it. I was probably pushing my luck with the way I was attacking some of them curves. Coming towards the final corner, again, I can't take it flat out. There's a car in front of me who is going to slightly tap the brakes, so I have to be a little bit wary there. Now, good overtaking spot, dive up towards the first corner. However, he knows what he's doing, and he sticks his car on the inside. It is quite a long way to go all the way around the outside here. It can be done, but I wasn't going to try it. I'm now hoping that I can get a good run out onto this next straight. Another very good overtaking point is kind of after the bridge. After the bridge, breaking into that corner is always useful. However, the leader just runs a little bit wide, dips a wheel on the grass, and I will have that. And that was it was fairly straightforward. I think this was on the final lap. I can't remember. It was a fairly straightforward pass for me, and I was going to be pretty much unchallenged for the rest of the race. Yeah, I'd got the hang of this car around Maple Valley. I was pretty damn quick here. However, further back, it was a closer finish between this lot. I can't remember what place this was for, as somebody gets very, very on two wheels. Well done for somehow nearly managing to roll that. I don't know how you did that. That was a long way on two wheels. He took a bit of damage. In the end, the smoking Viper, which went past, finished 9th, I think, which is not bad, all things considered. The guy in the black car lets the car that crashed through. I'm not quite sure why. He didn't do anything wrong. But anyway, it was a fairly interesting race at Maple Valley. However, we move on to round 3. This is at the Sebring full circuit, and well, everything was to go wrong, at least for me. At this first corner, now I like this track for Versus Community races as it's fairly wide. The first corner is pretty wide, so there's normally less incidences. However, not this time. I got clattered by somebody who took a little bit too much of a dive up the inside. I got sent across the track, and I collected somebody into the wall, and there was about 5 or 6 cars that were later involved, trying to avoid us, basically. I can't really show this. You can see there's all sorts of broken smoking cars lying around. I can't really show this very well, as there's so many cars involved that, yeah, all chaos breaks loose, basically. And again, this is another one of these incidents where somebody just gets their braking a little bit wrong, not quite expecting me to be slow at the point of the track, which I was, and clips the side of my car. I then go across the track, and I was in 3rd or 4th at this point, across the front of the entire field. That's the big problem. When like one person makes a mistake, if we were further back, it would have been fine. But because we were at the front of the pack, pretty much, a lot of other cars get involved. And I think probably everyone from about 9th back had suffered extensive damage. Almost everybody had suffered some form of damage. At the front, I think only 2 or 3 cars got away without any damage at all, as there is a change for leader. Sebring is another one of these tracks that it is fairly tricky to overtake on, although it is a very, very long track. There are a few good overtaking spots, but yeah, it's another one of these fast tracks. These cars are definitely more suited to Sebring. Well, I say they are more suited. They have very, very long gears, the ACR Vipers. So around some of the shorter tracks, around Infineon, for example, the gears were a little bit short. I think you pretty much just use like 2nd and 3rd. Maybe you got into 4th occasionally. But yeah, the gears on these things are very, very long, and you can just about sort of use them sensibly around here. We have a pass now for, I believe this is for 5th. a good overtaking manoeuvre that I saw going on here is you can get a good run out of the final corner. You can position yourself properly and take the first corner. That's probably the most common of the overtaking moves here, to be honest, because I don't know, it's a strange track, this one. It's a very, very long track, so you don't actually get as many laps. I try and keep all of these races to be like about 10 minutes long, so you only ever really get 5 laps around here in these cars is what we did. So yeah, you don't get that many chances at a corner to kind of overtake on. So yeah, it can be a little bit tricky to find a way past somebody who is in front of you. But this is the battle for second now, and all fairly close on it. There's a lot more close racing in this final race, which is interesting, because I wouldn't have thought so. Sebring's not a track, well, maybe other people drive. I very rarely drive Sebring when it comes to kind of online stuff. Anyway, everybody's going to go 3 wide, and it's all very scary. I wouldn't want to be the car in the middle of this lot, and however, amazingly, everybody gets through it very safely. There's no damage, no scraping. That's got to be overtake of the evening for the red and blue Viper. That's very brave to go 3 wide in that corner. Everybody got away with it. Yeah, the final corner here is very, very nasty. It's very bumpy, and it's also very wide. It's very hard to kind of pick a line for that corner. I'm not particularly a fan of it. But yeah, you can get overtaking manoeuvres done through there. However, the grey Viper here, having just lost 2 places in one corner, wasn't finished yet. He's now kind of looking, trying to find a way past the black and blue Viper. It's a long way to go around the outside there. It's pretty unlikely to manage to pull that move off. Now he's going to kind of try and get a bit of a cutback going on here as the black and blue Viper runs a little bit wide. He's got a better exit on towards the straight. I'm not sure if the black Viper just doesn't see him there. I suspect that's what happened. Didn't know what side of the car he was on. And he unfortunately gets pushed off wide into the grass and loses another place. It's just one of those things I think that happens with Forza when you're trying to kind of look around, trying to see where the car is. And of course, if you're trying to guess based on the distance indicator, you don't know what side they're on. And we've seen it a few times. I'm sure it wasn't deliberate. It is one of those things that happen. Further back, I think I was holding 9th or 10th, possibly, can't remember, with my very broken Viper. I was actually having quite a close race with the car behind me. Again, level of damage wise, I can't tell you exactly from looking at the replay. However, I can tell you that my car had 460 horsepower. Or 450 horsepower after the crash. This car normally has 600 horsepower. Yeah, my car was quite poorly after that. There are a lot of poorly cars going around with varying degrees of aero damage. As I said, I don't know what these guys had. I think a few of them were in scrapes though. However, coming down the back straight, they are very, very close together. There's a broken Viper on the side there, and then there is a lunge into the final corner, showing you can overtake through here. It is possible. It's a straight. I really don't like it. It's very bumpy, and you've got such a wide exit. Well, wide entrance. Sorry, and wide through the corner. It's a very weird. I can never get a line I'm happy with through there. It's just one of those corners that yeah, I just can't seem to drive. Anyway. There is some close racing going. Someone runs a little bit sideways into that first corner. I don't really want to be doing that. Yeah, there was some good overtaking going on in this race actually, which is always good to see. This is at the front now. I think on the second to last lap. And the blue and red Viper have managed to catch to the leader as they run in towards the hairpin. This is a good spot if you want to do an overtaking manoeuvre. However, not so good if you upbrake yourself a little bit. Yeah, it's an interesting track, this one. I'm not a massive fan. It's a good track for these versus the community races because the start corner is kind of nice and wide and there's less first lap incidences here. But yeah, it's not the nicest of tracks for overtaking. It doesn't really generate much close racing because I can't really say why. I've just never really been a fan. It's a bit too fast, I think, for any sort of major close racing. There's not huge braking zones except for in the final corner. And of course, coming towards this first corner, as there is going to be a change for the lead. Again, this guy used to get a good run out of the final corner to manage to position his car well for the first corner. However, things aren't quite over yet. Somehow, I'm not quite sure how he did it. Maybe the leader ran a little bit wide. This multicoloured Viper manages to kind of get a decent run out of the first corner and keeps his car on the inside. Now, he might be on the outside for this bit. However, he's now in the right place for this very long corner as he comes on towards the next straight. Again, there's a little bit of contact going on there. Now he's managed to get the lead back, which surprised me when I was watching this replay. I thought once they'd gone around the first corner, he was done for. But credit to him for managing to get that position back. Is a very brave move through those next 3 corners. Unfortunately, he outbrakes himself coming in towards the hairpin. It's easily done here. runs a little bit too wide and now has lost the position eventually. It was a good battle between them two. In fact, this was probably had the most overtaking of all the races that we did. Anyway, there was little change as we come towards the final corner on the final lap. Yeah, I would say it was a fairly successful event with these cars. I probably won't be using S-Class again. It's not as much fun. It doesn't get as close to racing as some of the lower class cars. However, there was still some good overtaking. There were still some good battles going on as the blue and red car takes the win. Further back, there was a fairly exciting finish going on here, and I can't remember what position this was for, 9th or something around that kind of thing. My very broken Viper was still struggling on, and we were all in a line. My lack of straight line speed was really hurting my car. It could keep up through the corners because it wasn't so damaged, like aero-wise, or the fact that I had no power meant that the aero damage didn't really affect the handling. But yeah, when it came to the straights, I was really struggling. And as we come towards the finish line now, the car behind me has just got more straight line speed and just manages to beat me on the line by the tiniest of margins in that one. Yeah, I was pretty annoyed. Well, I say I was pretty annoyed. It was a good fun race actually, despite the fact I was very, very broken. So I can't complain too much. Anyway, that is it for this week's FailRace versus the community. My voice is really, really dying. I apologise on that front. Anyway, yeah, it was a successful race, but I'm not going to be doing it for people who are like commenting and stuff. I'm not going to be doing race cars and S-Class cars and that kind of thing again anytime soon, because it just doesn't generate as close racing. Even with cars like these that are pretty good handling, pretty good brakes, there's just not as much action going on, which is not as exciting for a video, shall we say. So the next FailRace versus the community is going to be held on Saturday, the 28th of September. It'll start at 8 PM British summertime. This means that you Americans who are normally at school when we run this, or who are at work or whatever, hopefully some of you can take part who don't normally. I'm having to run it on a Saturday this week because I'm actually going to be away on a Thursday for once, and I'm around at the weekend, which is odd for me. But yeah, it's going to be on Saturday. We are going to be running B-Class hatchbacks. So if you go to body family, body family, can't remember, on the Forza game settings, that is the cars which we will be using. Only the hatchbacks that the game, only the cars that the game counts as hatchbacks. There we go. Will be allowed. So that is the setting I'll put on. So make sure that the car that you choose is eligible for that. You can do engine swaps, drivetrain swaps. You can do whatever you want to them as long as they stay within B class. So yeah, that should produce some interesting close racing. Hopefully, closer racing than with these Vipers anyway. However, that is it for today, so thank you very much for watching, and until next time. Oh, wait, hold on, I forgot, quickly, before I go, God dear, I'm not feeling so well after all of this. If you want to sign up to take part in that event, as ever, you go to our forums, you find the FailRace versus the community section. I'll put a link in the description so you can go there, and that is where you sign up to take part. We do it through the forums, like I say, every week, because it is easier to manage everything, to keep a track of everyone who's signed up and all of that kind of thing. So yeah, that's where it will be. When I've decided on the tracks, they will also be on there. Anyway, that is it for this week, so thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.